Do you have to play blue with Cori-Steel Cutter? Let's find out. Hello and welcome back. This week I'm playing some Rakdos Cutter. So this is a disruptive aggro deck that is based around the artifact from Tarkir Dragonstorm, Cori-Steel Cutter. Y'all have seen it in the meta already. You normally see it being played alongside blue to be able to churn through your deck with cantrips to ensure that you get multiple spells to be able to cast in a turn, and then protecting it with counter magic in the form of Daze and Force of Will to make sure that it doesn't get removed. However, this deck decided to drop the blue and is playing black instead to be able to play Disruption in the form of discard and removal and some sticky recursive threats like Nethergoyf and Timeline Color that even if they get removed, you get to play them again. So the downside is we don't have the blue cantrips to churn through our deck and keep the spells coming. So we have other roundabout ways to do that. We are playing 7 baubles to ensure that we have spells to be able to cast to trigger Cori-Steel Cutter and churn through our deck with some slow cantrips. And we also have Dragon Rage Channeler to be able to surveil to make sure that we're getting rid of dead lands and making sure that we always have spells coming off the top of our deck to be able to keep triggering Cori-Steel Cutter. Additionally, we have cards that you're able to cast both from your hand and from your graveyard in the form of Cabal Therapy, Nethergoyf, and Timeline Color, so that we can make sure that we're casting multiple spells per turn to keep triggering our Cori-Steel Cutters. We have another roundabout way to do that as well in the form of Amped Raptor, which is always going to be 2 spells. Because of the fact that the top of our curve is 2 mana, we will always be able to play whatever we hit off of the Amped Raptor's 2 energy when it ETBs. So that's another way to ensure that we're always triggering our Cori-Steel Cutter to just keep flooding the board with these tokens that we really don't care if they get removed because we're just going to be able to create them again anyways, and having our opponent spend real cards on tokens is always going to be a tempo play in our advantage. Backing this up, as I said, we've got hand disruption in the form of Cabal Therapy and Thoughtseize to be able to strip our opponent's hand, Lightning Bolts and Fatal Pushes and Molten Collapse as our various removal cards to be able to get rid of creatures, Tamios, give us a little bit of range to finish out the game by bolting our opponent in the face. Full playset of Orcish Bowmasters to ensure that we can punish the blue cantrip-based decks, and also gives us a nice little token that we don't care about to be able to sacrifice a Cabal Therapy to flash it back from the graveyard. And a 1 of Nihil Spellbomb, just respect the fact that the format is so graveyard-centric at the moment. The mana base is pretty typical Rakdos stuff, bunch of fetch lands, bad lands, couple of basics, 1 Raucous Theater as a Surveil land to act as a little bit more selection as we're going through our deck, and 3 Wastelands just because we are a disruptive deck, so we can attack their hand, we can attack their creatures, and we can even attack their mana to try to keep them off balance while we finish the game out with our small creatures. The sideboard is pretty pointed toward various things, particularly up against blue decks with 3 Pyroblasts to be able to fight through blue counter spells, even more removal in the rest of your playset of Molten Collapses, another Fatal Push, some Shoulder's Edicts, and a Strategic Betrayal as additional removal. We also have quite a bit of graveyard hate in this deck in the form of Strategic Betrayal as well, and 3 Surgical Extractions. And then we have Meltdown for the artifact-based decks, and Claim the Firstborn is kind of a weird little one here, but the logic behind that is to be able to actually steal your opponent's Merit Lage out of land-style decks and kill them with their own creature if you get the chance to do that. Or if you just need to steal a small creature to get a little bit of damage to get you over the finish line up against go-wide decks or something along those lines. So I will say, looking at this deck list, I'm a little worried about big mana and the artifact combo decks that are running around. All we really have against that stuff is discard, wastelands, and then the single meltdown. I think the deck could probably use something like Null Rod, because especially against the artifact combo decks, a lot of their artifacts that you care about destroying are probably going to be 2 or higher. So you'd be waiting till at least turn 3 to be able to cast a meltdown to wipe up their board, and that's going to be too late up against most of those decks. However, there is the inherent non-bow of that in the fact that it shuts down all of your baubles and it shuts off pretty much all of your actual card draw out of the deck. So we're going to see how the list I found that put up a 5-0 does, but I'm just going to keep that in the back of my mind as I'm playing through the league and see if it comes up that maybe it does need even more dedicated artifact hate in the form of something like a Null Rod. But let's see if we can play Cori-Steel Cutter in a non-blue deck and still be able to overrun our opponent the way that the blue decks can. So let's take this through a league, see how it does. I'll catch you all in the wrap-up.
Play any of the decks you see on this channel with a Mana Traders rental subscription. With a variety of tiers to fit any budget, Mana Traders lets you play whatever you want in whatever format you want. Use code DasSourKraut at checkout and become a better player today.
Alright, won the die roll, let's go. I don't hate this at all. We got a little bit of graveyard hate. We've got Dragon Rage Channeler, some removal of Wasteland. We are going to go ahead and keep this. And we can play on basics here. Well, if we want a Timeline Color, I guess we can't. So, we have another land anyway, so let's play into a Wasteland. Why not? Grab a Badlands, play a Dragon Rage Channeler. Opponent appears to be F6. Prismatic Vista, so we're probably up against some kind of control deck. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Plains into a Swords to Plowshares. No. Tamiyo. Okay, well, we have an answer for that. I'm not super concerned about that. They were F6 last turn, so hopefully they don't have removal now. Another Bloodstained Mire. We can go ahead and play that. Bolt the Tamiyo. Get our Surveil on. A Nethergoyf. Yeah, we can put that in the graveyard. Start working toward Delirium. And that's just a matter of, do we want to slam our Timeline Color, or do we want to get Nile's Spellbomb up and running? I think we want to do some damage here. And next turn we can play Nile's Spellbomb. I'm not sure they're going to be able to take advantage of their graveyard just yet. And we are already playing into a Wasteland. So let's just slam Color. We're doing 2 to ourselves, but we're swinging for 3. And we've already got 3 card types in the graveyard. We have actual Delirium up and running anytime we want. This puts us to 16 all, and I have a board presence. They don't. We have our next few land drops up. Nile's Spellbomb can draw us a card if we need it to. We can also just replay the Timeline Color. Okay, they did have the Brainstorm, so it's a good thing we got rid of the Tamiyo when we did. Scalding Tarn, okay. Are they going to grab a non-basic is the question. Are they going to grab another basic? No, non-basic. So they have red into a Ponder. So we can punish this with our Wasteland, play Timeline Color. Did not shuffle off with the Ponder, okay. See what we draw here. Ooh, we draw an Orcish Bowmasters. Well, I think we're going to hold that up then, instead of playing the Timeline Color. Just get in. It's only 1 point of damage, but we're going to hold up this Orcish Bowmasters, try to snipe a cantrip if we can. And if not, they waste a counter spell on an Orcish Bowmasters, and I'm not particularly concerned about that. We just go back to being the beatdown. Prismatic Vista, okay. I think we're still just going to wait here. Amped Raptor. Okay, well, we'll play Verdant Catacombs. We will play a Nile Spellbomb, get our Surveil. A Thought Seize. That does turn on Delirium. Do we want to try to hit their hand, or do we want to just keep playing to the board at this point? I think we will go ahead and just keep that to punch a hole for the Bowmaster next turn. And if we shuffle it away, so be it. We can turn Delirium on at any point that we want. And honestly, I think we're going to do it now. I'm a little worried about, like, a Murktide Regent. And we can probably drop this Bowmaster, actually. Yeah, I think we're good dropping the Bowmaster here. Because this turns on Delirium for Dragon Rage Channeler. We get the Thoughtseize. And then we can go fetch another Badlands, Thoughtseize them, and see what they got going on over there. This does drop Bowmasters, but I think this is more important at this point. And I think we are just going to go ahead and grab another Badlands. Like, we're already playing into Wasteland if they got it. If they got back to Basics main deck, we get super punished, but it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't mind just seeing another land here. A Nethergoyf. Do I want to keep committing to the board? I don't think so. I think we got enough creatures between the Timeline Color, the Orcish Bowmasters, and the Amped Raptor. And, okay, opponent's going to Spell Pierce that. Okay. That gets a counter out of their hand, so I'm kind of okay with that. Unfortunately, we don't have Bowmasters up to punish a cantrip at the moment. There shouldn't be a 3-mana board wipe. I mean, I guess if they had Wrath of the Skies, but they went and got a red basic, so it looks like they might be, is it Cutter? Ponder, okay. Like I said, I wouldn't mind just finding a land so that I can play 2 things. Okay, Jeskai colors, interesting. We hit a Cabal Therapy. I don't hate that. The question just becomes is what would we name off of this, I suppose? Because if they had a Swords to Plowshares, they'd pop it off now. Maybe something like a 4th Aerolingus? Do we want the redraw off of this? I think we do. So we'll keep that on top. I was trying to think what they could have here that we want to name. Like I said, maybe fourth Aerolingus. They could have a Force of Will, and it's just not worth it to them to cast it into this. I think we will name Force of Will. You typically don't want to Force of Will a Cabal Therapy. Ooh, we hit double Force of Will. Okay. I like that quite a bit. So grab both of those. They've got a fourth Aerolingus, a Flame of Enor, and a Snapcaster. So they're Jeskai Wizards. That is fine. We can Ulta punish a whatchamacallit here. We could also actually just go ahead, play Orcish Bowmasters, take the Flame of Anor, and then just, if they get the, whatchamacallit, I don't really care. They get the initiative. They could just, yeah, I think we're going to do it here. I think we're going to flash this in and sack the Orc army to take the Flame of Anor. If they want a fourth Aerolingus, I'll let them do it. And then, where's this Cabal Therapy at? Cabal Therapy, target you, sack the Orc army, take the removal spell. Actually, do we even want this Mishra's Bauble anymore? I don't think we do. Now that we know what's going on over there, I think we are going to bin the Mishra's Bauble. I don't think we really want it. I'd like to hit another land so I can cast 2 spells next turn. And we will take the Flame of Anor. If they hit a land, they can force for 2, but I don't actually care about that, because we can just kill them on the crackback. They could snap for a Ponder. That doesn't really matter. Okay, they just found a Ponder, so they're looking for a way out of this. I'm assuming they're looking for a removal spell for the Dragon Rage Channeler. They shuffled off of that, and they scoop it up. Okay, taking out Jeskai Wizards in game 1. I like that. So up against Jeskai Wizards, we want to bring in Pyroblasts. There's something to be said about possibly also bringing in all of this extra removal as well, but I think the Pyroblasts might just be our best thing here. We already have a decent amount of removal main deck, and Molten Collapse is a little slow. That being said, out of everything that we got here, we can probably take out Timeline Color. Maybe we take out the Molten Collapse just because it's slow. Fatal Pushes are better. I like the Lightning Bolts. I don't think we need the Nile Spellbomb. They have Snapcasters, but that's about it. And we can just try to kill whatever they go after. And that would give us our 3 Pyroblasts. Do I want to bring anything else in is the question. Like I said, there's something to be said about bringing in all of this removal and bringing the Molten Class back in, but I'm not sure what other 4 cards I'd want to take out here. I think we're just going to go ahead, try it like this, and if we go to a game 3, we'll sideboard accordingly. Alright, Nethergoyf into Amped Raptors. I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. A little awkward our basic Swamp is in hand at the moment, but basic Island from the opponent into a Tamiyo. A flipped Tamiyo will be annoying if they have it, but we'll just have to work our way through it. Into a Thoughtseize. Do I want to start out with that? I actually think I do. See if we can take a Brainstorm out of hand. Spell Pierce, Prismatic Ending, Swords to Plowshares, Swords to Plowshares. Well, let's just go ahead and take one of their efficient removal spells here. All of our things are creatures, so don't care about the Spell Pierce at the moment. The Prismatic Ending is not very efficient. We care about the Spell Pierce a little bit, depending on what we hit off of Amped Raptor. But we might just go ahead and play Barrogoyf, set up, and see what they do. Or we could just Amped Raptor, so we have some kind of pressure here, but they can kill it. Yeah, I think we're just going to go ahead and play the Nethergoyf, try to get this Prismatic Ending out of hand. Players is Bobble. And we will Bobble them on their turn after they've gotten a chance to draw another card. Fetch him a Flooded Strand. I'm assuming we're seeing a basic Plains here. Yes. And I'm going to get Swords to Plowshares. No, they're going to crack a Clue now. They very desperately want to flip this Tamiyo. Let them draw. We will Bobble. See if we see anything new. They have a backup Tamiyo. Okay. I'll probably go grab our Raucous Theater next. Did they find a cantrip is the question, or do they have another land? Alright, they're going to Prismatic Ending the Nethergoyf. Okay. That's fine. We kind of just got to work our way through this stuff. They have another land. We will go grab a Raucous Theater. Get some Surveil action on. Orcish Bowmasters. I think we'll go ahead and keep that. Draw the Bowmasters, draw for turn. We hit a Pyroblast. Okay, I like that quite a bit. So we can go ahead and Amped Raptor. See if we can get the Spell Pierce out of their hand. See what we hit. We hit a Lightning Bolt, so we will Lightning Bolt the Tamiyo. This gets Spell Pierce out of hand. And then we'll pass the turn. And when they go to flip Tamiyo, we will Pyroblast it. Because we can Pyroblast it now, but they just play the other Tamiyo, and then they can try to flip it right away. Unless they go ahead and play Swords to Plowshares now, then we might just go ahead and do it. Because then they'd have to have Tamiyo and a cantrip to be able to flip. So Swords to Plowshares is out of hand. Yeah, I think we're just going to blow up this Tamiyo now. Don't let them get any more clues. And they would still need a cantrip in addition to this other Tamiyo. And next turn we can Amped Raptor and hold up Orcish Bowmasters. Alright, they got one card in hand. Is it a Brainstorm? No, it's a Ponder. They're still going to be able to flip Tamiyo. Chose to shuffle off of that. Cracking a clue to flip Tamiyo. There is a world where if we can get everything together, we can flash in this Orcish Bowmasters in response to them ultimating Tamiyo and kill them. But we have to make sure that their hand is clear at that point. A Dragon Rage Channeler. Well, we will start off with an Amped Raptor. I wouldn't mind, like... Okay, Netherglyph isn't bad. Putting more creatures on the battlefield to try to challenge the Tamiyo is good for us. And we have quite the board. We can take down the Tamiyo if they can't deal with it. And we can profitably block a 4th Aerolingus for 3. And if Tamiyo ticks up, we've got 9 damage here, minus 3 is 6. We can kill Tamiyo. They're just going to buy back a Swords to Plowshares, okay, into another Tamiyo, which, while annoying, is not the end of the world here. We are going to fetch just to thin the deck here. I don't really want any more lands, so we'll grab another Badlands. And then if we attack with all 3 into Tamiyo, this Tamiyo's dead. And we have double Orcish Bowmasters. So we will attack everything into Tamiyo to make sure it dies. We have double Orcish Bowmasters to make sure we kill this Tamiyo before it can flip. They're just going to let it go. That's fine. I don't think Jeskai Wizards would be playing a board wipe, but I could be wrong. Getting it with this Tamiyo, that's fine. If they have a Brainstorm, we can flash in Bowmasters. They'll plow it, flash in the other Bowmaster to kill the Tamiyo. 3 mana. Untapping, retapping. What is this, like Flame of Anor? Flame of Anor, draw 2, kill a creature. Okay, well we will flash in Bowmasters. We know 1 card is a Swords to Plowshares. We will ping Tamiyo. They will Swords the Bowmaster, which is fine. We will let the damage hit Tamiyo. We will flash in the other Bowmaster. They have 1 card in hand. It has to not be another Swords to Plowshares. This one we will go face because the draw 2 will finish off Tamiyo. Direct these triggers at Tamiyo. And then we have 9, 10, 12 damage coming in. They have 2 cards. They can draw another card off of their clue. Playing a Thunder Trap Trainer, so they're digging for something. They can block 1 thing. Blue Elemental Blast, okay. That's mostly fine. I don't super care about that. Well, let's get in. We're going to hold on to this Lightning Bolt to try to use it as like the last little bit of damage. Granted, they're probably going to hold up this Blue Elemental Blast. I think we're just going to go ahead and do this now while we can. Just drop them to 3. And we have multiple lethal threats on board now. They can blow up our Amped Raptor with the Blue Elemental Blast. Okay, they found a Swords to Plowshares to deal with the Orcish Bowmasters. That's fine. There's still multiple lethal threats on board here. And they have to find some way to deal with one of these 2 creatures. Because both of these are lethal. They can blow up the Amped Raptor, no problem. They could Aerolingus for 2, get in with 1 of them, hold 2 blockers back. But then they're tapped out of Blue Elemental Blast if we draw another Lightning Bolt. Prismatic Ending on the Orc Army token. Okay, so the Blue Elemental Blast may or may not still be in their hand. they might have put it back with that Brainstorm, so we're not 100% sure what that last card in hand is at this point. Arid Mesa doesn't really do anything. We don't have any other threats in our graveyard at the moment. They also could have set this up so that they have a big 4th Aerolingus after this. Okay, Dress Down is annoying. And do they draw into the blue Elemental Blast to just completely wreck our board here? Did they set it up to do that? So far, no. Netherglyph can die, but we can get it back. Alright, they did draw into the blue Elemental Blast, so the question becomes is what was the other card they put back? And then we can replay the Netherglyph. And then we gotta get rid of creature, land, instant, artifact? Did I not select a land? Hold on. Cast this. Why is it not showing me the 4 card types? I've got 5 in my graveyard. I want creature, instant, land, artifact. Okay, there we go. And then what was their top card? Drawing something off of the clue token. Trying to find a way out of this. What is this? Is this a Wrath of the Skies? Yes, it's a Wrath of the Skies for 1. I can replay the Netherglyph, but it is going to be very small if I do that. They have 1 card in hand. There's a lot of cards that get us out of this. Just a Lightning Bolt off the top? Cabal Therapy. Let's Cabal Therapy. I think I'm most scared of 4th Aerolingus. It is a Spell Pierce. Okay, I don't care about that. We will replay the Netherglyph. And they are just drawing blind off the top of their deck. Sorcery, instant, land, creature. And unfortunately it's only a 2-3, but we can make it a 3-4 at any point now. That Spell Pierce isn't doing anything, so it just comes down to what is the top of their deck over the next 2 turns. It looks like whatever it wasn't an answer, so we're going to go ahead and fetch here. Grab our last Badlands. Thoughtseize. Okay, well, let's Thoughtseize them. Grab something out of their hand, see what it is. Spell Pierce and Force of Will. We will take the Force of Will. We just have to dodge 1 top deck. Can we dodge the top of their deck is the question. Alright, do we dodge the draw step? Or is this game still going? And we pick it up. Alright, 2-0 up against Grixis Wizards on the board. On to the next one. Lost a die roll. I actually like this hand quite a bit. We can start off on turn 1 Cabal Therapy after bobbling them. Now we're up against a Daybreak Gamer. I don't recognize Trinket Mage, so I'm not super sure who that is. We will keep. Opponent kept on 7 as well. But yeah, I think we're going to start out with turn 1, Bobble Cabal Therapy. Turn 2, Warp a Timeline Color, attack, flash it back. Prismatic Vista, so this is probably some kind of control deck. Amp Raptor, well, we're going to start off in a swamp, play a Bobble, bobble their hand, see what's going on over there. Scalding Tarn. I think we're just going to name Force of Will in the blind. Okay, so it's Jeskai Wizards again. So we do hit a Force of Will, and then we will pass the turn. We'll probably end up getting the Spell Pierce out of their hand. They're probably going to play Thundertrap Trainer next turn. We hit a Cori-Steel Cutter. Okay. Yeah, if we can get the Spell Pierce out of their hand and then work up to this Cori-Steel Cutter, that'll be great. Played the Scalding Tarn. Will they play the Thundertrap Trainer? Grabbed a basic into a Ponder. Okay, so that was their draw for turn. They can't Trainer now, but they can still Spell Pierce. Shuffled their library off of that one. Okay. I'm actually pretty okay with that. Lightning Bolts. Well, we will play a Bloodstained Mire, warp in a Cutter, or a Color, get in for the attack, and then I think we're going to take the Thundertrap Trainer if this resolves. Alright, we're going to fetch. If this gets countered by the Spell Pierce, then it essentially does what we wanted it to anyways. I don't really care. Okay, is that the same Spell Pierce? Yes, it is. Okay. I didn't pay close enough attention to the art on it, but that is totally fine. Depending on what they do, we'll be able to get a Cutter down next turn and trigger it. There's this Thundertrap Trainer. What are they going to get off of it becomes the question. Back to basics. Okay, so we're going to want to go fetch a basic here. With that said, I think we're going to go ahead and go grab our basic Bolt Thunder Trap Trainer, go grab a basic Mountain, and bolt the Thunder Trap Trainer. So we know there's a Flame of Honor, a back to basics. We hit another Cori-Steel Cutter. So we'll play Badlands, play Cutter, warp the Timeline color to trigger the Cutter. And now they're going to have to choose between back to basics or Flame of Honor to kill the Cutter. Get in for a little 4, warp out the color, pass the turn. So yeah, they will have to choose between, do they want to flame the Cutter or... Okay, they're just going to play a Thunder Trap Trainer. That's actually kind of fine. Found a Brainstorm. Casts the Brainstorm, so we don't know what's in their hand now. We haven't seen any white mana, so this could just be Izzet Wizards. Not hitting land drops, though. So there is a downside to them playing back to basics, because they lose access to their red mana. Ooh, and we hit a land. That is fantastic. We are going to go ahead and grab a swamp, just increase our basic count, play another Cori-Steel Cutter, trigger that one off of an Amped Raptor. We could have just played the Timeline color, but I want to take advantage of my red mana while I have it. And I want to see what we can get off of this Amped Raptor. We hit another Amped Raptor, so yeah, we'll just cast it. Just add more to the board. Bank up some more energy. Swing in for 6. I very much like where we're at right now. And we have the Timeline color and the Amped Raptor to go again next turn. And the Amped Raptor is pretty much guaranteed to trigger these Cori-Steel Cutters. We'll have 4 energy, and there's nothing in our deck that costs that much. And opponent scoops it up. Okay, just kind of destroying the Wizards decks today. That's pretty sweet. So do we basically want to do what we did last time, which is obviously... Alright, so we want to bring in the Pyroblasts, for sure. And then it's just a matter of what else do we want to bring in. Because last time we took out the Molten Collapse, we took out the Timeline color, and we took out the Nile Spellbomb, and that seemed to work pretty well. I haven't seen white mana out of them yet, so it's just a matter of do we want to bring in, again, more removal. Their permanents that we care about, though, are going to cost more than 1, so Molten Collapse is just creature removal for all intents and purposes. So I don't think we want it. I think we will go ahead, just do what we did last time, and if we go to a game 3 and we see more of their deck, we'll adjust accordingly. We also still haven't seen white out of their deck yet, so they could just be straight Izzet. They might not be Jeskai. And also, thanks for the compliment, Trinket Mage. They said cool deck in the chat, so thank you very much. Hopefully you see this on YouTube later. Alright, what do we have here? We have our colors, we have a Thoughtseize, we have a Bobble, we have some removal, and we have a Bowmasters. I think we're going to keep this. Island from the opponent. I think we're going to just start off with a Thoughtseize. Okay, I like the Pyroblast quite a bit, but we will go ahead and just start out with Thoughtseize. And then probably drop a Bobble to get a redraw. Ooh, Mental Misstep. Okay. Well, let's play a Bobble. And then, do we want to play a second Bobble? I don't think so. We'll just pass the turn and we will Bobble them in their draw step after they've drawn their card. Tundra. Okay, so they do have white. They are Jeskai Wizards. Into a Tamiyo. We actually have 2 answers to try to kill that. Okay, well now we have 1 answer to try to kill that. Question is do they have a way to protect it? It has to be a force. Alright, we hit more mana, which I'm okay with. And a Steel Cutter. Well, we are going to start out with grabbing a basic. We can Cutter next turn, which I like. Go grab our Mountain. We will attempt to Pyroblast this now. It's got to be a force, which will get 2 cards out of their hand. They do have a force. Force Pitching Ponder, okay. Well, we still do have ways to interact with this, so I'm just going to go ahead and pass the turn here. They're running low on resources, which is nice. We might be able to get them with the Orcish Bowmasters if they get this Tamiyo to ultimate and their hand is empty. Thunder Trap Trainer. Well, we're going to blow that up before they can get a card out of it. See what they get off this Thunder Trap Trainer. We will be able to give the Tamiyo a little love tap here. A Flame of Anor. So Cori-Steel Cutter is probably going to go away after 1 activation. A Badlands. Okay, well, we will go ahead and play the Steel Cutter. Play a Bobble to trigger it. Give Tamiyo a little love tap. And then we will go ahead and bobble them again in their draw step. Just saw the same Flame of Anor. Either that or they have 2. Upticking Tamiyo. If they... There's a Ponder, okay. So the question becomes is, do they find a second removal spell for this Bowmasters in response to Tamiyo ultimating? Shuffle their library. I like that. They don't have the mana to do Flame of Anor. Mystic Sanctuary tapped. Okay. They might just be holding up this Flame of Anor because they're afraid of us flashing into Orcish Bowmasters. Hopefully we draw... Okay, we hit discard. I like that a lot. We can play Verdant Catacombs. We will go ahead and Cabal Therapy. Give the monk some prowess. And then we will name Flame of Anor. Flame of Anor and a Swords to Plowshares. Alright, so we can do the super telegraphed thing here. Swing in. Because, like, the problem is if we swing in at them, it's super obvious we have a Bowmasters. But we might just have to do that. We could also try to get this Swords to Plowshares out of their hand. But they could also just down-tick Tamiyo to grab, like, Flame of Anor back or something. I think we're going to try to do... Unfortunately, we're going to have to try to go for the telegraphed thing here. This will also trigger Cori-Steel Cutter again, unless they use the Swords to Plowshares now. And then we just gotta hope that they don't draw a hard counter or removal. I think we're gonna go ahead and just swing at face. I know this super telegraphs what's going on here. Okay, they're just using it now. Okay. Well, I guess we gotta hope that they don't have another removal spell on top in response to this Tamiyo ultimate, unless they're just going to down-tick Tamiyo to pick up another removal spell to try to be safe for a following turn. Thundertrap Trainer, okay. I'm assuming this is looking for a removal spell. Oh, they found the Swords to Plowshares. Yep, okay. Yep, they got it. The Thundertrap Trainer found the removal spell they needed. Okay, we tried. So, as always, Tamiyo's a pain in the ass. We might bring in an additional Fatal Push specifically to respect Tamiyo. The only thing is like, what do we want to take out for it? Actually, I don't think we do. I think we just run it back. They just happen to find the removal spell, so it is what it is. Alright, let's see if we can get a blazing fast start here. Thoughtseize, Dragon Rage Channelers, Cabal Therapy, Orcish Bowmasters. We'll keep this. The question is do we want to start out... I think we're going to start out on the Rockets Theater here. Set up to be able to Dragon Rage Channeler and Thoughtseize next turn. We'll keep Amped Raptor on top for now. Prismatic Vista from the opponent. Cracking it already. I'm assuming we're going to see an island into, like, a Ponder or something. Yes. So we will go ahead and Dragon Rage Channeler into Thoughtseize. Did they shuffle off of that Ponder? They did not shuffle off of the Ponder. Play a Mountain. Play Dragon Rage Channeler. And we will Thoughtseize you. Let's see what they got going on over there. Kind of just looking for lands at this point. Okay, we will definitely keep that on top. Like I said, we kind of just want lands right now. Fourth Aerolingus, Force of Will, Wrath of the Skies, and a Swords to Plowshares. I think we just want to take the Swords to Plowshares now, because next turn we're going to be able to Thoughtseize and Cabal Therapy to strip their hand of this other stuff. So let's take the only removal spell they can cast right now. And then next turn we'll have a minimum of 2 card types in the graveyard. Plays the Flooded Strand, that's fine. Like I said, I like having the land, so we can do 2 things here. We will play the land. We will start out with Cabal Therapy here, because we're going to name 4th Aerolingus regardless for the first one. And if they Force of Will this, that's 2 cards out of hand. We're probably going to fetch anyways, so we can throw this into the graveyard. And if they Force of Will this to protect 4th Aerolingus, that is fantastic, but they don't. So we will grab the 4th Aerolingus. They found a Hydroblast. Okay. So that's mostly okay. We will go ahead and fetch a basic Swamp here. And we will go ahead and Thoughtseize them. This will probably get the Hydroblast out of hand now. Granted, they could always just... Okay, yeah, it gets the Hydroblast out of hand. Do we want a bubble? I think we... Because we're going to be able to Amp Raptor into something next turn. Yeah, I think we'll keep this just for extra draws and stuff. So we'll keep that on top of the library. And we're just going to go ahead and take the Wrath of the Skies and leave them with just a Force of Will that they can't really do anything with at the moment. And then next turn we will Amped Raptor Bobble. Play the Flooded Strand, that's fine. We will start out with the Amped Raptor. See what we hit. We hit an Orcish Bowmasters. We will cast that for free. And then we will cast a Bobble. We're starting to run out of cards, but we have a redraw, which is nice. They have a Force of Will they can't do anything with and 2 Prismatic Vistas. And we will see what they're drawing unless they feel like fetching to try to hide info. Okay, a 4th Aerolingus is a little annoying, but we can profitably block it, but they are fetching it out of the way. So we know they have multiple 4th Aerolinguses then. Fetching with their other one, okay. Plays a Prismatic Vista, cracks that. This could be a Wrath of the Skies to clear the board, which it looks like it is. That's fine, but we know their hand is a Prismatic Vista and a Force of Will. And we're going to get 2 draws. We have another Orcish Bowmasters. And we hit a Cori-Steel Cutter. If we hit a 1-drop or a 0-drop, that works too. Well, we're going to do the thing. We came here to cutter, we're going to cutter. And then we will get in. We get another little refuel here. And we will again do this in their draw step in case we can get some additional information. They hit a Tamiyo. Okay, Tamiyo's fine. I don't super care about that at the moment. They don't have any ways to get extra draws off of it. And it does put their Force of Will down again. Oh, they shuffled some stuff around apparently? When did they get rid of their Force of Will? Okay, well, they have an active Tamiyo, which is a little annoying, but... Well, this is quickly slipping away now. So I somehow lost track of what they have over there. Hopefully we can get some stuff that's going to be able to challenge this Tamiyo. Well, we can start just flooding the board with creatures. And these can profitably attack into a Tamiyo. But I'm very worried about what they have over there now. It is kind of crazy how, like, a lot of Legacy games now... Okay, they're just going to get back the Wrath of the Skies and recast it. But that's fine. As long as they don't have a blue card to go along with whatchamacallit, we can kill Tamiyo. We can also just recast Nethergoyf into a Ponder. So we'll see what they do here. What I was about to say is it's crazy how many Legacy games have now just devolved into being solely around Tamiyo. I'm starting to come around to the argument that Tamiyo needs to be banned. There's a Fatal Push. Well, I think we have to try to get this in. If they have a Force of Will, they have a Force of Will. Okay, they didn't, so we at least get to kill Tamiyo. So they did shuffle that Force of Will away at some point. Thunder Trap Trainer. We can kill that, so I'm not super concerned about that at the moment. Another Flame of Anor. Do they have another land? No, they have a Tamiyo, but we're probably just going to kill that then. So we're going to go ahead and just kill the Tamiyo now. Try to keep that off of the battlefield. We know this Orcish Bowmasters is going to die. We're probably just going to replay... Yeah, we're just going... Well, we could sack the Orc army, but I think we're going to start off by casting Nethergoyf. We can get rid of instant, creature, artifacts, and a land. And this should preserve most of our card types in the graveyard. And we can take this Flame of Anor with Cabal Therapy. And then we will flashback Cabal Therapy, sacking the Orc Army token, take this Flame of Anor to try to save our Orcish Bowmasters. Force of Will pitching Brainstorm. Okay, so they care about preserving the Flame of Anor. Makes sense. We'll pass the turn. The Orcish Bowmasters is going to die, I'm sure. I highly doubt that they would aim this flame at Nethergoyf. Oh, they just have both. Got it. Okay, well this one is very quickly slipping away on us. And unfortunately, even throwing another land type in the graveyard, this Nethergoyf is only going to be 5 power, and they're going to get to draw 2, or 5 toughness, and they're going to get to draw 2 cards off of it. Yeah, that's fine. Mystic Sanctuary to get back something. To get back 4th Aerolingus, okay. Well, we need to find a way to discard that. We will fetch to mildly thin the deck. Crack our Delta. Go find... We'll just grab another Badlands. We need a discard spell to be able to take care of Yep. I was about to say, we need a discard spell to be able to take out this 4th Aerolingus, or we're just dead. But unfortunately, we don't really have a choice here, because they're just going to dump all their mana into a 4th Aerolingus, and then we're probably just going to die to that. But good game, opponent. That was very well fought. And they have a Flame of Anor on top of it. Okay. Well, we still have a chance to go grab that 4th then. Luckily, their attacker only has 1 power. But we are at the mercy of the top of our deck, and we need to hit a discard spell, which we do not hit. We can take their red mana to try to stave it off another turn. I thought for sure they were just going to slam 4th Aerolingus and go to town and try to close this game out. I'm surprised they went after the Nethergoyf. We could have played a new one. Okay. They have red... Maybe they only have 1 Volcanic, and they just don't have access to red mana anymore. I feel like they'd have a plateau, and they should have just slammed a 4th Aerolingus pre-combat, but that might have been their only red source. And we hit a Cori-Steel Cutter. I mean, we can try to trigger this, but it looks like it's getting countered. Yep. Unfortunately, Nethergoyf is the 4th card type, so we can't really do anything with it. Maybe their other... No, they still didn't tap. I was about to say, maybe their other red source is a Thundering Falls, but... They might just not have access to the red mana to be able to play 4th Aerolingus. Like I said, luckily this Thunder Trap Trainer isn't much of a clock here. So we're definitely living on borrowed time here. I mean, Amp Raptor is something that can get us back into the game depending on what it hits if they don't have another counter spell for this. No, they're just going to dress down. Okay. I have a blocker now, though, unless they have another white removal spell, which they probably do. There's a Tamiyo. Can they flip it? As of right now, no. There's a Fatal Push. I mean, we're just playing to what we got here. Like, we are going to push the Tamiyo, try to force a block off this Thunder Trap Trainer. I'm sure they have another Force of Will. No. Okay. Well, we will get in, try to force this block. They might just take it. Yeah, they're just taking it. And I now have 5 card types. I can replay this Nethergoyf now. And we gotta do creature, artifact, land, sorcery? Still trying to leave as many card types in the graveyard as I can? I honestly thought for sure this game was going to be over like 4 turns ago. The fact that we're not just dead yet is insane to me. Like, they must just not have another red source in the deck. Unless they're going and grabbing it now. No, they must just not have another red source in the deck. Kicking a Thunder Trap Trainer. So they've got a wall of blockers now. See what they hit off of this. They get 2 cards. They hit a Brainstorm. So it's only a matter of time until they find their red mana. And a Prismatic Ending. So they can Prismatic Ending the Goyf, which it looks like that's what they're doing. Okay. They're going to get in. Yeah, they're going to get in. Okay. They can double block the Amped Raptor to get it off of the battlefield. And we hit a Bobble. We will cast that. I think we are going to go ahead and get in with the Amped Raptor. Just keep trying to clear this board out. They might just single block it. No, they are going to double block it. That's fine. We'll get rid of the real one. Like I said, there's got to be a basic mountain in the deck somewhere. And it's just a matter of when do they find it. Let them draw. Bobble them. See what we see. A Spell Pierce. Okay, that's quickly becoming useless. There's Brainstorm. We'll get rid of the Spell Pierce too because they're probably going to put that away. Like I said, there's got to be a basic mountain in this deck somewhere, and it's just a matter of when can they find it. They're getting in with everything. Okay. We get to draw off a Bobble. A land that doesn't do anything. A Thoughtseize. Well, we will Thoughtseize just to see what's going on over there. Try to get their win con out of their hand. Okay, they're just going to Mental Misstep. That's fine. We do need to find a way to stabilize this board, though. We got 3 more draws until we're dead. And they're just amassing cards, so I'm guessing it's a bunch of counter magic over there. Orcish Bowmasters. Okay, that can take care of one of their tokens. I don't think we have any fetchable lands left in the deck, so I'm not going to play out this Arid Mesa. Make them think we have something. They're going to get in. We're going to flash in Bowmaster, try to take out this token. Assuming this resolves, it does. Take out the token. And then we'll chump block the Thunder Trap Trainer. Save our life total a little bit here. Alright, they don't have removal yet, and they didn't have a counter spell for that. We hit a Dragon Rage Channeler. Well, we'll just play that out. I feel like if they have a Snapcaster Mage, they would have cast it already, so I don't think we have to worry about a flash blocker here. Little love tap for 1 there. Pass the turn. They have a 6-turn clock. We have a 2-turn clock. They did have a Swords of Plowshares, but they care more about the Dragon Rage Channeler. Okay. This is a bizarre game. Our opponent's saying they should have let the Thoughtseize resolve, thinking that it would hit our life total a bit more. I'm saying I honestly thought this game was going to be over when he bought back the 4th. I was not expecting to not have another red source in the deck. Yeah, they're saying there's a basic mountain somewhere in the deck. So it's just a matter of, can we get the 4th Aerolingus out of their hand before they can find the basic mountain? Alright, so I don't hate Lightning Bolt. We could try to Lightning Bolt their face, or we can Lightning Bolt the Thunder Trap Trainer. I think we're just going to Bolt the Trainer here, try to clear the board out. Unfortunately, we don't really have any like super fast way to try to close this out. Okay, they had another Swords of Plowshares. So it's literally just a waiting game of, can I close this game out before they find their basic mountain? There it is. Alright, a 4th for 7. They finally found their basic mountain. Good game, opponent. Good game. There we go. -4. Good game, opponent. Oh boy, we're up against Mafuz, the Dredge Master himself. Alright, so we know Nile Spellbomb is going to be a big one that we need. We can try to out-aggro them here. This is a little wonky. We can try to blind Cabal Therapy them. I think we're going to give this a shot. We're going to hope that he doesn't have just like a super explosive turn 1 here. But we are going to start out with Badlands into Dragon Rage Channeler, and then hope that some well-named Cabal Therapies can do some work here. Do you have the break? Okay, Careful Study, so we'll see if they can pop off with a Lion's Eye Diamond. Bridge from Below and Golgari Grave Troll. Okay, well we can nuke the bridge pretty much whenever we want here. And we hit another Cabal Therapy. Okay, well we will play Bloodstained Mire. We will play a Dragon Rage Channeler, so we get double Surveil off of this. Go grab another Badlands. And then I think I'm going to name Breakthrough here with the first one. And hopefully we can find a Nile Spellbomb. We don't want the Fatal Push. That's not really going to do much. Dragon Rage Channeler number 3. I think we want to bin that as well. We will name Breakthrough and see if we actually need to pop this off or not. Otherworldly Gaze, Brainstorm, Cabal Therapy, Thassa's Oracle. So I think we are going to go ahead and flash this back, get in with our attack, and then we are going to flash back, naming Brainstorm. And this also nukes their Bridge from Below. Orcish Bowmasters. Bowmasters doesn't do a whole lot against them. And I think we just want to try to find another land at this point. And we will name Brainstorm. Get both of those out so that their draws, they don't have like crazy draw 3s or anything. They can upkeep Otherworldly Gaze and see where this goes, which is exactly what he's doing. Life from the Loam. That's interesting. I'm assuming they're going to dredge the Grave Troll here. No, took a natural draw. Okay. Interesting. They did hit another land, and we hit a Cabal Therapy. Well, we're going to play a Cutter, another Nethergoyf. I think we're going to go ahead and keep that. And then we're going to get in another Otherworldly Gaze and upkeep, putting a Stinkweed Imp, a Poxwalkers, and an Otherworldly Gaze in the yard, I believe. No, just Stinkweed Imp and Poxwalkers. Still missing lands. Okay, nope, they were just doing second main phase. So this should still be their hand right here, is Thassa's Oracle, Narcomoeba, and Cabal Therapy. And getting a Hedge Maze. Okay. That is fine. So what do we want to do here? Maybe just name Narcomoeba? Or we can just play 2 Nethergoyfs and go aggro as all hell here. Because they're going to be able to Otherworldly Gaze in their upkeep to get back 2 Poxwalkers. So maybe these Nethergoyfs aren't as great as they could be because the Poxwalkers have Death Touch. But there's nothing in their hand I particularly care about at the moment, so I think I am just going to run out 2 Netherglyphs just to try to put pressure on. And then we'll get in for 3, and then I guess we'll just double Cabal Therapy next turn for the hell of it. Because we just want to aggro them out as much as possible here. And the Poxwalkers do return tapped, so it's not like they're going to have blockers. They did decide to Dredge. Okay. So they can get a zombie back? That's fine. I gotta dodge them surveilling another bridge from below into the graveyard here. Because they can Cabal Therapy, get 1 zombie back. They hit a Narcomoeba. Okay, so they're starting to get their board under them here. And they are going to Cabal Therapy, get a zombie. Okay. I'm curious what they name here. They could also flashback the other Cabal Therapy to hit my Cabal Therapies. In which case, I can flash those back. Named Lightning Bolt. Are they going to flash the other Cabal Therapy back to get another zombie and strip my Cabal Therapies from hand is the question. I feel like that's the correct thing to do. But it does add a card type to the graveyard and turns on my Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay, they are going to do it. Oh no, they're targeting themselves. Okay. They named Cabal Therapy with Cabal Therapy. Okay. And they're targeting themselves again. They're just trying to get as many zombies as possible here. Which makes sense, but they did just lose their flying blocker. And this one they named Golgari Grave Troll. Okay. So they've got a Thassa's Oracle and a Narcomoeba in hand. See what we draw here. Oh, thank God. Holy shit. Okay. So we're going to start out with a Cabal Therapy. We will Surveil, see what we hit. Orcish Bowmasters. I like that. We can put that on top. We will name Thassa's Oracle. Take that. Then we will blow up their graveyard. And then we will go ahead and play Badlands. Trigger our stuff. Yes, we will trigger this. Move it over. Keep Bowmasters on top. And then we're not even going to wait around here. We are just going to nuke the graveyard now. And then we are just going to slam in with the team. That was a huge draw. I do still need to be cognizant of these Poxwalkers, but... Alright, they're double blocking one of the monk tokens. So they're blocking one monk, double blocking the other. That's fine. They're down to 2. They have 1 flying blocker left. If they just play the Narcomoeba, which I can kill with the Orcish Bowmasters. And that should be game. Alright, they got a Brainstorm. Trying to set something up instead of playing the Narcomoeba as a for sure blocker, which makes sense. You're kind of swinging for the fences from here. Tropical Island, so they can still play the Narcomoeba as a blocker. Assuming it's still in their hand. Which it doesn't look like it is. So what could be in their hand then is the question. I mean, we're going to get in. I really don't know what could be in their hand here. I'm not sure what bounce spell they theoretically would have to be able to bounce this Dragon Rage Channeler. It's an Otherworldly Gaze to go ahead and dump the Narcomoeba into the yard, which we can still kill with this Orcish Bowmasters. Unless they somehow have 2 Narcomoebas. No, they have 1 Narcomoeba. That can bounce in, and then we will flash in the Orcish Bowmasters to kill their blocker. Holy shit, took down game 1 against Dredge. That is huge. So sideboard-wise, we want Strategic Betrayal and Surgical Extractions for sure. There's something to be said about Pyroblasts, just to be able to stop some of their draw spells, and there's a possibility that he has Force of Will. So it might not be a bad idea to bring in the Pyroblasts. We definitely do not need Molten Collapse. And our discard is kind of a liability. So I'm tempted to just take out the Thoughtseizes here. Unless we can Thoughtseize a key card and then Surgical it. But I don't think we need that. I am going to keep the Cabal Therapies in because they're a way to nuke Bridge from below. And then it's just a matter of, do we want to bring anything else in? I think we can take out Timeline Color to bring in 2 Pyroblasts. And if we go to a game 3, we can adjust accordingly. So let's try that. Alright, we've got Amped Raptor, Fatal Push, Mishra's Bauble, Double Cabal Therapy. Mafuz is keeping on 7. I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. We're going to give it a shot here. We're going to see if a turn 1 Cabal Therapy does anything. We're hoping it does. Cephalid Coliseum into a Careful Study. Okay. A Wasteland would be nice. Unmasked Careful Study. So no Dredgers in the graveyard yet. So we might actually name Otherworldly Gaze here, which I think is what we're going to do. We will grab a Badlands. We will Cabal Therapy. Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, we did hit. They have a bunch of card draw spells. And then we will play a Mishra's Bauble. And I think we're going to crack it now just to see. Okay, they're drawing a Narcomoeba, so that doesn't really do anything for them at the moment. And then what do we draw? We draw Swamp. If we had drawn a Surgical Extraction, we could hit the Careful Studies. Playing the Misty. I'm going to guess Brainstorm first, then Careful Study, or they might Careful Study first, then Brainstorm. No, they're going to Brainstorm so that they can fetch. That's fine. Fetching to Shuffle. I'm assuming they kept the Careful Study then. And they're almost to the point where they can Cephalid Coliseum. I'm sure this Narcomoeba's back in their deck. Cabal Therapy. What are they going to name? Nile Spellbomb. Okay. Good thing we don't have that in our hand right now. Depending on what we draw, we might just slam this Amped Raptor and hope it hits something relevant. Because they can Cephalid Coliseum, but they still have no Dredgers. Okay, I don't hate Surgical Extraction at all. We are going to go ahead and fetch just to thin the deck. We will grab a Badlands. Whoops, tap the wrong mana. Play an Amped Raptor. See what we hit off of Amped Raptor. We hit an Urza's Bauble. Okay. I can flashback Cabal Therapy now, but I think I want to wait until I see something in their graveyard worth taking. I have a feeling they're going to upkeep Otherworldly Gaze. Oh, they're not. Okay. Well, in that case then, let's go ahead and bobble them. That's probably the same Misty at this point. They still don't have any Dreaders in the yard. Another Careful Study. Okay. Okay, they got a Grave Troll and a Stinkweed Imp. I think this is our shot here to take the Grave Troll and try to limit their dredging. Unfortunately, there's still a Stinkweed Imp. Alright, take the Grave Trolls. They're actually pretty low on total number of Dredgers. It's just some Stinkweed Imps, some Life from the Loams, and the Golgari Grave Trolls. Unfortunately, they're still going to be able to hit the... They're going to be able to dredge off of the Stinkweed Imps still. But we at least limit the damage a little bit, since it's only a Dredge 5 instead of a Dredge 6, but... And these are gone. Yep, they're going to dredge. Luckily, we can nuke any Bridge from Belows. Alright, no hits off of the first one. So they got to take 2 actual draws, which is good. And then there's a Bridge from Below and some Stinkweed Imps. And hopefully we draw some sort of Graveyard A here. I don't hate Dragon Rage Channeler. And a Mishra's Bauble. So we'll play a land, play a Channeler, play a Mishra's Bauble. Wasteland is interesting, but I don't think that matters anymore. And the question is do we want to pop this Bridge from Below now? There is a Cabal Therapy in the yard. We also could always just Fatal Push our own creature. I don't think we want the Wasteland here. That's not what this game is about anymore. And we'll get in with the Amped Raptor. Like, we know what's in their hand at this point. We know there's a Life from the Loam. I think we're going to go ahead and take the Life from the Loam. No, I want to flashback the one from my graveyard. Just so that they can't Life from the Loam and activate, whatchamacallit? We do not want another Bauble. That can go in the graveyard for sure. Life from the Loam. This also minimizes how much they dredge. They have a Cabal Therapy in hand. Okay. Do I want a Cabal Therapy their last card as well? Yeah, let's do it. There's no reason not to. And there's an Orcish Bowmasters. I don't think we want that at the moment either. We're just digging desperately for Graveyard Aid at this point. And grab their Cabal Therapy. They are empty-handed now, so we will know what they dredge if they do. Maybe I should have kept that Wasteland knowing that they'd get back the Cephalid Coliseum, but we're just kind of stuck in that loop forever at that point. And they get a Dredge. 4 life from the loam. That's fine. They'll get back some lands. Because, yeah, we're just desperately digging for graveyard hate at this point. Got back Coliseum, life from the loam. Fetching with the Misty, okay. For a hedge maze. I'm assuming this means they're looking for a Narcomoeba or something? They like whatever they saw on top. We're going to go ahead and surveil. Go grab our Rocket Theater. Like I said, we're just kind of desperately digging for graveyard hate at this point. We do not want a Nethergoyf. We can put that in the graveyard. We're going to see what you kept on top. A Brainstorm. Okay. We get 2 draws. Hopefully we hit some graveyard hate here. We brought in a bunch. Surgical Extraction. Okay. I like that. We can Surgical the Stinkweed Imps. So let's play a Mishra's Bauble. See what's on top of our library. See if it's more graveyard hate that we can draw into at instant speed. Ooh, Strategic Betrayal. Yes, we will absolutely keep that on top. Play our land. We are going to get in with the Dragon Rage Channeler. And then we are going to Surgical Extraction your Stinkweed Imps. Now we're going to actually pay mana for this. And then we will nuke your graveyard next turn. So all you have for dredgers left are loams. And your hand is 2 Cephalid Colosseums. And yeah, the only dredgers you have left are life from the loam. So take out all the Stinkweed Imps, pass the turn, and then we will clear out their graveyard next turn. I could replay one of these Nethergoyfs out of the graveyard. I keep forgetting that they're in there. Are they going to dredge? That's what they're trying to figure out now. Is if they want to dredge or if they want the Brainstorm. Okay. They decided to dredge. I think at this point we're fine bobbling because we'll draw the Strategic Betrayal on our turn. There's a Otherworldly Gaze on top. That's fine. And if they happen to hit some bridges, we can always Fatal Push our own Dragon Rage Channeler. This Brainstorm is gone. There's 2 Cephalid Colosseums in hand. They're going to Life from the Loam, targeting Cephalid Coliseum, Beseju, and Island. Okay. That's fine. And they're going to crack the Cephalid Coliseum. They get a Narcomoeba back. There is a bridge from below. And then they don't hit anything else. They can Narcomoeba here. And they can get back a Cabal Therapy, which they are, which gets back a Poxwalkers and a zombie, which I'm actually kind of okay with. Or they can get more zombies back. I'm just debating if I want to Fatal Push now or if I'm okay with them getting some Poxwalkers back because we're going to be able to beat that. As they can sack the Poxwalkers again, I think we're going to go ahead. Whoops. We are going to Fatal Push our own Dragon's Rage Channeler here to nuke the bridge from below. We can deal with a zombie token in like 2 turns. I still want this on top. So they only get 1 zombie off of this. And then we'll easily be able to deal with the Poxwalkers. And then we get our draw, which is Strategic Betrayal. If we hit a land, we hit a Strategic Betrayal and a Fatal Push. So we're actually going to be able to wipe everything out here. And then next turn we just drop a Nethergoyf and close out the game. I probably should have taken a look to see what's left in their deck. There might still be a Thassa's Oracle in there. But I believe our Nethergoyf should be able to close the game out faster than that. Bridge Poxwalker's life from the loam. Okay, so they can't get a Poxwalker's back for now. Unmask Cephalid Coliseum. I think they're trying to go toward a Thassa's Oracle win here, which they theoretically could do. We are going to cast Nethergoyf. Land, Artifact, Instant, Creature. My Nethergoyf is a 2-turn clock. Casting a Narcomoeba. Okay. Playing a Cephalid Coliseum. Alright. Give me something good here, deck. Bloodstained Mire. That doesn't really do anything. I think we're going to go ahead and Cabal Therapy here. Just name Thassa's Oracle. See if that is in their hand. We can nuke this bridge from below if we need to. Unmask and a Cephalid Coliseum. Okay. So we could take Unmask. I don't think it particularly matters. We can swing in with the Nethergoyf, but they get a zombie. So I think we're just going to pass the turn. We also are kind of low on time here. So we could get in. They get a zombie off of the Poxwalkers. And then we replay Nethergoyf. Or they can get a zombie off the Narcomoeba and we replay Nethergoyf. I think we have to try that. Like, they can just chump block, whatever. I don't really care at this point. Let them get a zombie. We just have to start working our way through all of this. Okay, they're going to block with the Poxwalkers. That's fine. That also kills the bridge from below. And then second main, we will replay the Nethergoyf. And we want to get rid of land, artifact, instant, sorcery. And this doesn't affect the size of it at all. They also do run the risk of possibly dredging over their Thassa's Oracle. Played a land, thinning the deck, so he's looking for the Thassa's Oracle. I don't think we exiled it already. Yeah, the Thassa's Oracle isn't exiled yet. Failed to find, so didn't actually thin the deck at all. Casting an Unmask, all I got is a Bloodstained Mire. We'll yield through the turn. Getting in with the Narcomoeba, okay, that's fine. We hit a Nile Spellbomb, which we will play and then we will draw with. Because we just want to find more creatures to be able to close this game out. Okay, I like Dragon Rage Channeler. We will play that. Get in with the Nethergoyf. We know he just has a Cephalid Coliseum in hand at this point. Opponent is asking, how much Graveyard Hate are you packing? It's 3 Surgicals, 1 Spellbomb, and 1 Strategic Betrayal. So 5 pieces of Graveyard Hate. And Mafoos packs it up. Good game, Mafoos. Good game. Good luck on the rest of your league. Alright, next ad back. I had to break up filming, so let's finish out this league. Won the die roll. Thoughtseize, Nethergoyf, Wasteland, Fatal Push. I think this is pretty good. We can keep this. The question is do we want to start out with Thoughtseize in them or go for the Nethergoyf first? I think we're going to start out with the Thoughtseize, see what's going on, make sure that we don't just get our Nethergoyf plowed turn 1 right after playing it. Alright, opponent kept on 7. Yeah, I think we're just going to start off with Thoughtseizing our opponent, see what's going on there, come up with our game plan from there. Alright, so we are up against either Dimir Reanimator or Dimir Tempo. Given what they have here, I think we're going to go ahead and take the Thoughtseize. Protect our hand. We can kill a Bowmasters. We don't super duper care about a Nile Spellbomb at the moment. And Brainstorm is kind of whatever. Props to our opponent for the old border Lorwyn Art Thoughtseize. Our opponent had a very long stop in their upkeep for some reason, but okay, play Scalding turn. Into an Underground Sea, playing Nile Spellbomb right off the bat. That is mostly fine. We know they have another land, but we can make this Brainstorm awkward. We hit a Bloodstained Mire, okay. So we're going to play Wasteland, play out our Nethergoyf. They can make this smaller, but we are going to keep them off of 2 mana for as long as possible. And we can do a nice little trick where if they pop the Spellbomb and play Orcish Bowmasters to try to kill this, we can go ahead and... Okay, well, I was going to say, we could go and Fatal Push the Bowmasters in response, but they grab a basic Swamp and Thoughtseize away our Fatal Push, which for now is fine. I guess we're going to see... do we want to Amp Raptor pre-combat, or do we want to attack first? I think we want to attack first. See if we can get them to pop the Spellbomb. We could play a Bloodstained Mire first, but I don't think we need to. Like, the difference between doing 0 and 1 damage at this point isn't super huge unless they are the Reanimator version. So we probably should have actually played the Bloodstained Mire to guarantee that we get at least 1 damage in, but we'll see. With the fact that they're playing Orcish Bowmasters, I'm leaning more toward them playing the Tempo version. This also means if they pop this pre-combat and have a Force of Will for this Amped Raptor, that's 2 card types back in the graveyard for Nethergoyf, and it's actually bigger on the back. But we'll see. Alright, get in with the Nethergoyf. And I think we're going to go ahead and start fetching basics here in respect. Well, no, if they... I was going to say, in respect of Wasteland, but if they Wasteland, they're keeping themselves off of mana. So I think I'm okay grabbing another Badlands here. And we'll slam Amped Raptor. That resolved. What do we hit? We hit a Cabal Therapy. Ooh. Do we want to hit Brainstorm or Orcish Bowmasters with this? We also could strip 2 things out of their hand here. I think we're going to do Orcish Bowmasters, just so that they can't remove either of our creatures. And they have a Nether Goyf of their own, which is worse than ours. Yeah, we take the Orcish Bowmasters. It's just a question of, is it worth to take the Nether Goyf? The Nether Goyf is going to have 2 card types. This will be the 3rd card type. It'll be as big as our Nether Goyf. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and just flash it back here. Take the Nether Goyf out of hand. And they're a very long way from being able to get that back at the moment. And we'll pass the turn. They can pop their Spell Bomb to draw a card if they want, but we can regrow our Nether Goyf pretty easily here. Alright, yep, they're popping it to draw a card. And they still missed on lands. We can go ahead and make our Nether Goyf bigger. We can make it quite a bit bigger now. We will cast a Mishra's Bauble. We will go grab our Raucous Theater now. See what's on top. See if it's something we want to draw at instant speed or not. So the Nether Goyf is also confirmation they are on the tempo build. We don't need another Mishra's Bauble, so we can put that into the graveyard to grow the Nether Goyf. Swing in for another 2. And then we will go ahead and bauble them on their upkeep to see what they're drawing. I would love it if it is not a land. Okay, it is a land, so they'll be able to bounce our Nether Goyf if they want to. But they might just try to brainstorm to try to find something relevant here. Okay, they have a Tamiyo, so we do have to worry about that, but we get 2 draws. We hit a Cori-Steel Cutter and a Nile Spellbomb of our own. Ooh, okay, well, that is good for us. We will play Cori-Steel Cutter. Ooh, they had a Force of Will, pitching Brazen Borrower. Okay, then we will play and crack Spellbomb now. Or, I'm actually probably better off waiting here. We'll get in with the attack, it doesn't really matter. This doesn't add any card types to the graveyard. They can flip their Tamiyo. As long as they don't have a removal spell, we're probably pretty good here. And I think we're going to go ahead and Spellbomb now before they can get that Nether Goyf back, just in case they hit a land. Okay, Molten Collapse is good, as long as they don't find another counter spell or a discard spell. Alright, getting in with their attack, then they're brainstorming, flipping Tamiyo. They do get to get 2 of these 4 cards. Hopefully it's not anything super relevant, because we can kill Tamiyo. Upticking Tamiyo, playing a Wasteland, that's fine. I do not care about that at all. And all they could have here is a Daze. We hit an Amped Raptor. Well, we were going to cast this. Destroy target creature or Planeswalker. Target Tamiyo. Add another card type to the graveyard. And we can pay for a Daze, so that's the only counterspell they could have had. Swing in for 3. Technically only 2. And pass a turn. They have 1 redraw, and they're currently drawing through the Brainstorm, whatever that happens to be. Passing the turn, okay. We hit a Thoughtseize, so let's Thoughtseize to clear the way for this Amped Raptor. They are brainstorming to hide something, okay. 2 Dazes, that's fine. Do we want to set them back a land? No, I think we're going to wait. Play this Amped Raptor around the Daze. Hit for 3, put him to 5, and pass a turn. And it looks like they're passing the turn here. Another Nether Goyf. We will start out with a pre-combat Amped Raptor. Again, play around the Daze. And Orcish Bowmasters. We will cast that. Ping them. And then there's currently no creature in the graveyard. We're going to go ahead and cast this. If they Daze it, it puts our Nether Goyf to lethal. Okay, they have an Orcish Bowmasters of their own. Pinging our Orcish Bowmasters. Are they going to Daze? Yes, okay. And then we'll get in. They're probably going to chump block this. We can't do anything, so we can F6 through the turn here. They replay Underground Sea. Alright, they're holding stuff back on D here. We're going to hold on to this land. We don't particularly need it at the moment. Swing out with everything. They have to block the Nether Goyf. They go to 1. Fetch lands are off. Force of Will is off. And then we'll pass the turn. Just hold on to this land. Make them have to think we might have something here. Cracking a Clue, that's fine. Wasteland, that's fine. Yep, go ahead. Take out a land, that's fine. They have 2 cards. Facing down 3 lethal threats. Cabal Therapy. We are going to start off with this. Orcish Bowmasters is about the only thing I can think of that they could have here that complicates things. And it is. Okay, that's fine. Taking out the Amped Raptor. Okay. What can we name here? I think we're just going to name Force of Will. Trying to think of what else they could theoretically have in there. Okay, and it was a Force of Will, so we hit. And yet again, they're going to have to block with both creatures, otherwise they're dead. And I think we're going to go ahead and still just hang on to the Scalding turn for now. Make them think. Do we dodge a top deck? Alright, taking down Grixis or Dimir Tempo in game 1. So for game 2, we want Pyroblasts in, probably Strategic Betrayal in, Fatal Pushes and Shoulder's Edict in, Molten Collapses in. We can probably trim Timeline Color. I'm honestly tempted to just take all the baubles out if we're being completely honest here. It seems weird, but I honestly think that might be our best option here. Like, drawing cards is a liability against what our opponent's doing, and we're almost at the point where we just want to control the board, and we will win eventually. What do we want? What else would we want to take out here? Maybe the Shoulder's Edicts are a bit much. I guess we'll take those out, actually. Because we can destroy a Murktide Regent with the Molten Collapses and the Pyroblasts. And we can take out their graveyard with Nile Spellbomb. So I think we're going to try something like that, and we'll adjust if we go to a game 3. A little land light, but I like it, and we're on the draw. On the draw, so I think we'll keep this. I'd like to hit some lands, but we have removal. We have multiple threats to be able to try to play into a Tamiya right off of the bat. Okay. Our best draws here are basically just lands at this point, which we do hit another one. And we are going to attempt to just kill this Tamiyo now. If they have a daze, they have a daze. They do not. Tamiyo is down. Next turn, we can either Dragon Rage Channeler and Cabal Therapy, or we can Dragon Rage Channeler Nethergoyf. Ponder from the opponent. Into a Polluted Delta. Into a basic Swamp. Okay, Thoughtseize. That's fine. I'm assuming they take the Dragon Rage Channeler here. No, they took the Nethergoyf. Interesting. Okay. We hit an Orcish Bowmasters. Well, let's play a Badlands. Play Dragon Rage Channeler. They appear to be F6'd here, so let's do this. Name Orcish Bowmasters. I actively want the land. Let's do Orcish Bowmasters. Ooh, and we hit the Orcish Bowmasters. I like that. And our opponent scoops it up to the sniped Bowmasters. Alright, positive record is locked. Let's go on to the final round. Alright, final round. Lost the die roll. Playing up against some sort of 80-card Yorion deck. So the question is this 80-card taxes, or is this going to be some kind of 4-color value pile? Alright, what do we got here? We got Dragon Rage Channeler into some baubles. We got discard. I actually like this a lot. We can keep this. Alright, Marsh Flask. This is probably Yorion taxes. In which case, we'd like to play off of basics if we can, but I don't think we're going to get that luxury. We could also go ahead and grab a basic Swamp here, and we have 2 redraws, and trust that we're going to hit a land off of that. I think we might do that. It's a little bit of a weird play here, but since we only have 1 land, I really, really don't want to get got by a wasteland. We will play Mishra's Bauble. See what they are drawing first. Recruiter of the Guard. Okay, so it definitely is taxes. And we'll see if they want to fetch that away. Okay, it's blue-white, or Esper taxes, okay. So they've got Felia, Solitude. We have an answer for all of their creatures here, so I think we want to take the Solitude, probably. Or we can take the Baleful Strix, kill the Felia. We did play around Wasteland. They can Quantum Riddler to draw a card, but I don't super care about that at the moment. I think we're going to go ahead and take their card draw here, take the Baleful Strix, pass the turn, and hope that we draw a land. We could play the other Bauble here just to get another redraw. which, honestly, because we need a land so bad, I think we're going to go ahead and do that. I'd like to save it for the Dragon Rage Channeler, but we need the land way more. Re-revealing the Solitude, that's fine. And we have 3 threats, so I'm not super concerned about them solituding one of them. And they fetched away the Recruiter of the Guard, grabbed a Meticulous Archive, and kept whatever it was on top. We will get our draws off of the baubles. Another bauble, and a Thoughtseize. Okay. So we can continue to just strip their hand. They play Scrubland, which means they're probably going to hold up Ophelia. I would like a land here. Okay, we hit a land. Unfortunately, it is a Badlands. So I think we're going to play the Badlands, play the Dragon Rage Channeler, play Bauble, get a Surveil. Lightning Bolt we don't want right now. We need, whatchamacallits. And Dragon Rage Channeler is already on. We will Thoughtseize again. We need lands. That's all we really care about at this point. Okay, we will keep the land on top, and we can go get a basic with that. And it looks like they're probably going to flash in the Felia now. Yes. And we've got Quantum Riddler, Solitude. Of these, what do I care about most? I think I care about the Quantum Riddler the most. The Solitude we can answer with a Lightning Bolt. And then we will pass the turn. We will bobble them in their upkeep. Or in their draw step. See if we can see whatever they drew. We're just going to see something over again. Saw the Solitude again. If they can flash in the Solitude and blink it, that's a little annoying, but not the end of the world. 3 mana to Fairy. Okay. Are they just going to bounce the Dragon Rage Channeler? Yes. Okay. And then what? They can blink the Teferi, do this again? Yes. Are they going to draw or are they going to uptick is the question. All right. They get it back on end step. So we can still mostly kill the Teferi depending on what we get here. So we know we're drawing a land. We do need to kill the Felia now. So we can play Bloodstained Mire, go get a basic mountain, grab our basic mountain, play a Dragon Rage Channeler, bolt the Felia. Do we want the Arid Mesa? I think we do, just because we know that a whatchamacallit is coming, a Wasteland. And then we will warp the Timeline Color. We will attack the Teferi down to 2 so that it cannot bounce. And then we will play another Urza's Bauble. We will still keep the Arid Mace on top. And then we will bobble them in upkeep. Timeline Color warps out. And then let's see what they're drawing here. They've got 1 unknown in hand. It's a Shadowy Backstreet. Okay, so they're working their way up to being able to just cast the Solitude. Unless they want to Wasteland one of our lands here. Alright, upticking the Teferi. And I do not have another Nethergoyf from the graveyard yet, so I can't just play Nethergoyf out of the grave and hold on to the one in my hand at the moment. They could always put Yorion into hand for the Solitude. Yep, they're putting Yorion into hand for the Solitude. That's fine. Oh, they're just going to cast it now, pitching Yorion. Okay. I mean, we can just play the Timeline Color again, swack the Teferi down to 2 again, or down to 1. And they're playing the Shadowy Backstreet. Okay. Question is do they want what's on top? No, got rid of an Aether Vial. Okay. They have a Wasteland and 1 unknown in hand. We can pretty safely hit the Teferi down to 1 again. Which sucks I'm spending all of this time on a Teferi, but it is what it is. We will warp, or we will cast this, play an Arid Mesa, crack this. We're already playing into Wasteland now, so we'll just grab another Badlands. We could go ahead and Cabal Therapy and then sack the Timeline Color, but we're already a little low on life here. And they're kind of drawing blind off the top of their deck, so I think we're just going to play the Nethergoyf. And next turn we could even go ahead and sack the Nethergoyf, replay it. Assuming they don't wasteland one of our lands, that is. Uptick into Teferi, okay. Baleful Strix, okay. I mean, I don't super care about that at the moment. Playing the Wasteland. So they've got 2 unknowns in hand now. Unfortunately, I think I have to send both of these at Teferi. We hit another Badlands. Well, let's start out with attacking. We can always replay the Nethergoyf from the graveyard if they block that. Like, it really sucks. We have to attack everything at Teferi, but we do. Ensure that it dies. We can replay either of these from the graveyard if we want to. Just letting Teferi die. Interesting. What could they have in hand here that they're just not playing besides lands? If they had a Swords to Plowshare, they would have done that. They could have a Solitude and decide to draw instead. So let's name Solitude. Force of Will and Quantum Riddler. Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and take the Quantum Riddler then. Just get rid of that. Leave him with a Force of Will. And I can always warp back the timeline color. And they're drawing blind off the top of their deck. Recruiter of the Guard. Okay. What are they going to get? Like a Stoneforge Mystic? No, grabbing a Felia. Okay. To be able to blink the Recruiter, I'm assuming. We hit another Nethergoyf, so we will warp this. Get in for combat. See what they want to do here. They can flash in the Felia, or they can just take the damage, which it looks like that's what they're doing. Nethergoyf is down. We can play a Badlands, play a Nethergoyf, and then land, artifact, sorcery, instant. I think this does shrink our Nethergoyf by 1. Yes, it does. And then we will go ahead and Nethergoyf. And just try to apply some pressure. Because they can flash in Felia now, attack, go get a Solitude. Like, I think this is slipping away a little bit, but they'd have to flicker the Recruiter. And then I'll double block the Felia to kill it. Alright, opponent's getting in. They are flickering the Recruiter of the Guard, that's fine. I am going to double block the Felia just in case they have a removal spell in hand so that I don't get blown out by this. Just going to bounce the Felia back to hand. That's fine. That means they can't cast whatchamacallit this turn. And we kind of just keep trying to go ham here. Another Baleful Strix. Alright, we'd like another discard spell to be able to get rid of this Felia. They are going to Recruiter here. Are they grabbing a Solitude? Yes, they do want a Solitude. Okay. Dragon Rage Channeler. Well, we're just going to keep flooding the board with stuff here. And hope that we can push through this. Though, like I said, I'm starting to question if we will be able to. Alright, they're going to keep the Recruiter of the Guard up. And now they're flashing the Felia back in. That's fine. They could just play Solitude, blink that if they want to. Take out 2 of our creatures. And I'll probably scoop to that, honestly. They're not doing that yet. Okay, no, they are. Okay. So they're going to blink all of this shit. Get rid of the Dragon Rage Channeler, understandable. Then they're probably going to get rid of the Nethergoyf. And we need a removal spell for Felia or for Solitude. Yep, okay. This one's slipping away, unfortunately, but this also is kind of the type of deck that we have a really hard time against with this deck. Fatal Push. Well, we can kill the Felia. Well, let's see what they want to do here. We did gain a bunch of life here. Just gonna take it, that's fine. Do they have a blue card? Well, we're actually gonna see if we can bait this out with this first. Play the Nethergoyf, see if they're willing to counter it. I doubt they will. And then we just gotta hope that they didn't find a blue card to go with this Force of Will. If they counter this, we'll just scoop it up. Alright, they did have a blue card to go with it. Alright, Lavinia. Got it. Okay, yeah, no, they just were able to crawl back into this one. That's fine, though. That was still pretty close, though. So, against what our opponent's doing, we basically just want all of the removal in. So, we want Fatal Push, Molten Collapses. We can easily get rid of the Nile Spellbomb. We don't really care about that. It's just a matter if we want to go whole hog and grab the Children's Edicts and the Strategic Betrayals as well. They don't use their graveyard, so I think the Children's Edicts might be worth it. And they just have so many cards in their deck, I think we might just take the Cabal Therapies here. The chances of them having any one given card in their deck are pretty slim to none. And then with all the white-based removal, I think Timeline Color is probably our worst bet here. Like, our best bet here is just to try to control the board and then finish them off other ways. So, let's try this, and if we go to Game 3, we can adjust if we need to. Alright, let's see. Alright, again, we are banking on needing some mana, but we have a Dragon Rage Channeler and a redraw right off of the bat. But we are opening ourselves up to Wasteland doing that. I think we're going to keep it. We also could Thoughtseize them on one, but I think I want to Dragon Rage Channeler to try to hit land number 2. Grab a Badlands. Play our Dragon Rage Channeler. Get a Mishra's Bauble. Another Bauble. We do not want that. We can throw that in the graveyard. And then we will bobble them during their draw step. I haven't seen discard out of them, but they have black, so there's a very high possibility that they do have discard. Clarion Conqueror. Okay. Flooded Strand. Are we going to see a Prismatic Ending, or are we going to see a Swords to Plowshares? Swords to Plowshares. Okay. So we need to draw a land off of our 2 cards here. Okay, we hit a Wasteland. I mean, it's not the land... Oh, and we hit a Bloodstained Mire. Okay, I like that. We will Thoughtseize. Felia, Overlord, Brainstorm, and a Clarion Conqueror. Well, we will take the Felia. That's the only thing we really care about in this hand at the moment. They can get a Overlord of the Baelmerk down, but I'm not super concerned about that at the moment. Alright, there's the Marsh Flats. Cracking the Marsh Flats. Grabbing basics, understandable. Here comes an Overlord. It's a pretty Overlord, too. I will give them credit for that. So, Felia's the only thing they can get back here, which is pretty much fine by me. I think we're already exposed to a Wasteland anyways. I think we're going to go ahead and grab a Rakdos Theater here. Just get a little bit of selection. See if we can find another discard spell to take out this Felia from their hand. Grab Rakdos Theater. I just realized how low I am on clock compared to them. I didn't think I was taking that long to make my decisions. A Nethergoyf. I think we're actually going to keep that on top for now. Start pressuring them. We will play Wasteland. We will play Amped Raptor. See what we hit here. A Lightning Bolt that we'll hit him in the face with. And then I will play Nethergoyf and we will pass the turn. Just start putting some pressure on the board here. Like I said, we can easily kill the Overlord of the Baelmerk when it wakes up. Tundra from the opponent. Swords to Plowshares on the Nethergoyf. Okay. Annoying, but not the end of the world. Overlord ticks down. They're going to flash in Felia this turn. Another Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. Well, we will get in with the Amped Raptor. We're going to see... I'm debating if we want to take out their Tundra here. I think we do. We will take out the Tundra. We're going to see if we can ambush the Felia, and then on our turn we can kill the Overlord. Alright, flashes in Felia. That's fine. Another Overlord of the Baelmerk. Okay, that's problematic. Yeah, this is a really, really tough matchup for what we're trying to do here. They just have so much removal and so many creatures to clog the board with. Did they get a creature back with that? Return Solitude. Okay. They're going to blink the newer Overlord. And then we are going to flash in an Orcish Bowmasters. We are going to double block here because we know they have a Solitude. And I just don't want to get blown out by it. They're going to be able to get the Felia back. But we kind of got to do what we got to do here. Alright, they do just let that go, so we don't get blown out by that. Felia returns. I'm sure they're going to get Felia back. I will say these new like black-white blink taxes decks are really good. I played one a little while ago. Ooh, they have Tamios. Yep, grab Felia back. Okay. We hit a Verdant. Well, we are going to go ahead and kill your Overlord. And then we will get in with the Amped Raptor. And we probably are going to fetch just for the sake of trying to thin out our deck to find some more action. Unfortunately, even with all the card types in our graveyard, we do not have a Nethergoyf we can replay yet. And they're just going to pass the turn. They're going to do the same thing where they want to blink in Felia at end of turn. Alright, we'll fetch. And, I mean, we're just leaning into Wasteland at this point. Like, we're already exposed to it. No point in trying to mitigate it now. Urza's Bauble. Okay. We will do this now, because if we can draw an instant speed removal spell, that's good for us. So we will attack with Amped Raptor, try to get some damage in here. Because if we can draw an instant speed removal spell before they can attack with the Felia. However, this Overlord does come down next turn anyways, so it doesn't really matter. We still need to find a way to deal with that one. Or they could just keep doing this over and over and over again. Another Bauble. I mean, like, there is a world where we can burn them out. They're still just blinking the Overlord anyways. Okay. I'm not going to bother flashing in the Bowmasters here. We're going to try to wait to see if they have blue mana and a cantrip. But we also know that they have the Solitude in hand still. Recruiter of the Guard, Quantum Riddler, and Clarion Conqueror. They are going to get back Recruiter of the Guard. Okay. We hit a Scalding Tarn. That doesn't really do anything. We will cast an Urza's Bauble. play a Scalding Tarn, and then we will go ahead and just do this. We see the Recruiter, and then we will pass the turn. We will draw off the Bauble. We hit a Thoughtseize. That's about a turn late. Alright, they found their third land finally. So I'm assuming they're probably going to play Recruiter. When they try to blink Recruiter, we'll go ahead and kill it. Or they're going to play a Tamiyo, and they're going to try to flip the Tamiyo. Yeah, this is just bad. Getting it with both of these. I'm guessing they're blinking our Amped Raptor. Because I don't think you want to blink anything that's on here anyways. Solitude Wasteland, another Overlord. So all that's in there is a Solitude. So they've got 2 Solitudes in hand. They're blinking Tamiyo. This is currently a 3/3 that they can't get back. Okay, so we are going to block Felia, let the first strike damage happen, and then we are going to flash in Bowmasters to finish off the Felia, which deals with it for a turn. But we know they have 2 Solitudes, so they can handle our board pretty handily here. We're going to go ahead and just fetch again, grab our last Badlands. We draw an Amped Raptor. Let's go ahead and Thoughtseize first. See if we can get any action out of them this way. Triple Solitude. Okay. We can't beat Harbinger of the Seas, so we just gotta take that. Well, I'm pretty sure this one's lost, but we're gonna do what we can here. Play an Amped Raptor, see what we hit. A Fatal Push to at least kill the Tamiyo, and then we'll get in. I mean, we're dead. There's no way around it. Like, unless for some reason they do not cast Solitudes here to exile our board. Solitude pitching Clarion Conqueror. Alright. Getting rid of the attacking Amped Raptor. They go to 6. They've still got 2 more Solitudes and a Recruiter of the Guard in hand. And they can get Felia back. And they have a Brainstorm. So they can Solitude to get rid of the Orcish Bowmasters and then Brainstorm. Or they can just like Recruiter of the Guard first, then Solitude, then Brainstorm. Like, there's a lot of rounds out of this. Solitude pitching Solitude. So they're going to do this and then Brainstorm. This is going to go after the Orcish Bowmasters, I'm sure. Yep. There's nothing we can do. We can just F6 through the turn here. Yeah. This is an extremely difficult matchup for us. And they'll be able to attack, get Felia back, flash it in. Like, there is a world where if that's all they do and they don't hit a land to really do anything here. Okay, they hit up a Juka or a Boggart Bog, which they're not shocking in. Okay, so there is a world where we can get out of this. If we can find another Lightning Bolt and they don't have a way to deal with what's on board, we actually do have a way back into this game. Granted, they can go get another Solitude now, but they returned Felia instead. I mean, we'll take our 5. It's basically Lightning Bolt or bust now. Can we hit a Lightning Bolt? That's a Lightning Bolt. I mean, we attack with all creatures? They're flashing in the Felia now. So that eats 2 damage? Unfortunately, we kind of just have to play par for the course here and bolt the Felia right now. And hope that we hit another Lightning Bolt. Alright, let's see if we can top deck another Lightning Bolt. It's the last one in the deck. Because we've got 1 Lightning Bolt and 3 Baubles left, I think? Another Overlord, which means they can grab a Solitude back, or they can just get the Felia back now. And they can always Solitude... No, they picked Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. There is a world where they decide to hit a... Yeah, they're returning a Solitude, so they're either going to try to kill all of my creatures, or they're saving the Solitude to be able to Solitude away their own creature in response to a Lightning Bolt. And that is a swamp. That is the game. Good game, opponent. Managed to put up a positive record. But yeah, we'll address that all in the wrap-up. So at the end of this league, this deck honestly felt really, really good. I did not miss the blue from the Is It Cutter decks at all. I really liked the black to be able to have discard and recursive threats. I really do think discard is one of the most powerful things you can do in the current format, to just strip your opponent of what they're doing and being able to get multiple cards out of their hand by being able to Thoughtseize and then see their hand to know what to name with Cabal Therapy, or being able to Cabal Therapy twice in the same turn if you have a creature already on the battlefield. Just stripping your opponent's hand of everything they're doing to stop their game plan before they can do it is an incredibly powerful thing to do in the current format. Also, it felt like we were able to churn through our deck really well despite having no traditional cantrips. The amount of baubles leading into more baubles as slow cantrips has been great and allows you to play around discard spells by triggering them on your opponent's turn so that you can draw the extra card on your turn and your opponent doesn't get a chance to discard it, and being able to surveil through the deck with the Dragon's Rage Channeler and Rakdos Cutter to ensure that you always have something relevant coming the following draw step. So I really did not miss the blue from the traditional Is It Cutter decks at all and really liked the black. I liked how recursive and sticky things like Nethergoyf and Timeline Color were. As long as our opponent's not on the white exile based removal, these things are always going to be coming back, and we are able to dump stuff into our graveyard so quickly to turn Nethergoyf into a huge threat and to be able to turn the Delirium on for Dragon Rage Channeler, that even though on paper all of our threats seem really small, they end up becoming large and becoming real clocks and things that our opponent have to deal with. Overall, I just think the deck felt really, really good. We didn't end up running into any of the artifact or big mana decks that I was a little bit worried about, so I didn't really get to see if my theory that we needed more hate for those style of decks actually would have panned out, so I can't really say if I would change anything. The deck itself just felt really solid. Everything worked really well, and I honestly don't really have any changes based off of the way the league went. If your local meta is much more big mana and artifact based, I might make some changes in the sideboard, just stuff like maybe Blood Moons or Magus of the Moon, some Null Rods, something to be able to fight that, because in theory it seems like this deck would be pretty weak to those. We did see it's also very weak to the go wide creature based decks, despite the fact that we have a ton of removal. It is all 1-for-1 removal, so it's kind of hard to deal with decks like that Esper Blink deck that are able to go super wide and blink their creatures for value and stuff like that. So maybe if you're expecting a lot of that, I'd put something like a Toxic Deluge in the sideboard or some kind of sweeper, engineered plague, just something along those lines to be able to deal with the go wide creature decks, because the 1-for-1 removal is going to be slow against them, and a lot of times they're going to be able to flood the board more than your 1-for-1 removal can handle. But I gotta say, at the end of the day, this deck felt absolutely amazing. It honestly did better than I thought. We were really able to churn through our deck, make sure we were able to trigger our Cori-Steel Cutters all the time to keep flooding the board with tokens, and even our non-token threats that we had, like I said, Nethergoyf, Dragon Rage Channeler, Timeline Color, the recursiveness of them and the fact that they could get big very easily in this deck made them into real threats and didn't feel as weak as some of the traditional small creature go wide decks do. So the deck was an absolute blast. I honestly can recommend this. It feels really good. It feels like it can compete with the meta, and it has the nice part of not having blue, so it's a little bit more budget conscious. So just a nice little budget alternative if you want to play a cutter deck and you don't want to be springing for stuff like Volcanic Islands and Force of Will. So that is Rakdos Cutter in Legacy. I hope you all had as much fun watching the video as I did playing. I will catch you on the next one. And as always, stay salty.
Thank you for watching the video. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like and sub button below. They are free ways to support the channel. And drop a comment, let me know what you like. Any kind of feedback you got, your opinions on my gameplay, the decks that I play, any of that kind of stuff. If you really like what you see, go ahead and drop by the Patreon. Become a patron, get to read some of my tournament reports and some stuff going on outside of just Magic in my life that I'm going to start putting over there as kind of my own personal blog. Also, you can do donation deck lists over there, just the price of a league if you have a specific deck you want to see, or you have an idea you want me to brew around, something like that, go ahead and do that. Nothing is required. It's always appreciated, though. Any donations go directly back into the channel, covering stuff such as leagues for donation decks or the rental program that I'm a part of. I am a small-time YouTuber. I'm doing this for fun. I really hope you all like what you saw. I truly appreciate you all stopping by. I will catch you all in the next video, and as always, stay salty.